You started Cobra Post. You started doing other sting operations.
We started an investigative unit. I think this is a misnomer. I personally prefer the phrase undercover stories.
Okay.
And saying undercover stories. So there are a lot of document-based stories that we do that people don't talk about. So they just confuse us that we're just doing undercover operations. Actually, if you look at a percentage profile, perhaps the undercover story is just a small part of our whole profile.
Now, one of the things that you did was you paid for questions in Parliament.
That's right.
Which created a big stink. And I think that case has been resolved now.
That's
you got
right.
A favourable judgment on that.
That's right.
In which that the judge ruled that it's perfectly reasonable to do this to uncover corruption in Parliament, and in fact it is your duty to do so.
That's right.
So those questions that you had prepared, again you went back to your catch-22 obsession, okay, which is tera bachpana nahi jata with your catch-22. That's sort of burned in your brain and heart. Right?
We should remember I'm a novelist and my primary impulses are literary.
So these are the questions that you wrote. Has the Railway Ministry placed any order for purchase of Yossarian electro-diesel engine from Germany? Is the Ministry aware that the Tom Wolfe Committee report in Germany has halted its induction? Then, has the government given sanction for the seed trial of Salinger? Again, another obsession of yours, cotton of Monsanto. If so, has a report been prepared on catch-22 so far? And then the funny one also is, has the ministry lifted the 1962 ban it imposed on the book For Whom the Bell Tolls by Ernest Hemingway, and the 1975 ban on Ken Kesey's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and Hunter Thompson's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas? If so, when the bans were removed? Now, what if there was some literate person who got it?
Well, do you really think there are any?
No.
You see, just the mere fact. Just imagine the mere fact that here are these MPs who are putting in questions in the Indian Parliament, and nobody's even having a look at those questions, or even forget. I mean, the MP might not be a literate person, but he would at least make an attempt to find out, ye kaun hai? I mean, that's a primary, I can understand very well, and it's perfectly logical that an MP from Aurangabad or Gaya or anywhere, I don't expect him to be reading Hunter Thompson or Salinger, but I at least expect him to be asking people who want those questions done, please explain me what it means.
And they didn't even do that.
So that was the basic failure. And for these questions to land up in the Indian Parliament and sort of float around is itself a big sort of, absurd scenario.
Well, you've done amazing things with doctors, giving fake certificates and operations and all that kind of thing. But do you think it changes? Do you think it has any impact? Do you think today you can say that in Parliament people will not take money for questions? Do you think doctors who are doing this kind of malpractice have changed or stopped? Perhaps the only thing, the change that I can see is that they're more wary of a sting operation.
No, that's not true. That's too cynical an approach. We can't, it's like saying that why should police catch criminals because there'll always be crime.
No, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but do you think that
I think
in our society
it does
actually
have
has
an effect.
or
It
not?
does have an impact. Recently, we did an undercover story on Delhi municipal councillors, and the whole proceedings are with the Lokayukt in Delhi, and it has an impact on civic polity. Even the Tehelka defense story, it did have an impact in the sense it led to a revamp of procurement methods in the defense ministry, which has something to do with the fact that the current MMRCA deal, the Rafale deal, nobody's questioning it because of those procedures put in place at that time. So it has impacts where you cannot directly correlate a certain story with an impact, but indirectly it does suffuse the system. It does sort of look at the story that we did in Odisha. I mean, every story has an impact, whether it is undercover or a normal story. I mean, just to give you one small act, it's we did a story about judges in Odisha being allotted housing from the discretionary quota of the minister. That discretionary quota has been abolished in Odisha. So it is the little things, it is these 5 paisa victories that you have in stories, which is basically the whole pleasure of being a journalist, that you have impacted in some way on a polity. I mean, the impact cannot be 100% in your stories, but even if it's 2 paisa, 5 paisa, 6 paisa, incrementally it does make an effect.
Yeah. But the thing is that I hear from people who are in the decision-making process, in the same kind of things that you've exposed, They were also complaining that now nobody takes a decision because they're too scared it'll be questioned.
Well, that's their failure. It's the polity's failure. I mean, why can't you take a decision on logic and give you logic? Logic
Or with
can go
honest
long.
tenders,
With
open tenders,
people are
open
okay with the
auction.
fact that there could be certain wrong decisions because it's inherent in a decision-making process that sometimes you take a right call, sometimes make a wrong call. I mean, I don't think the polity will be disturbed by a wrong call if it's bona fide a wrong call.